Good day, students! Welcome to another episode of English Class with Teacher Noah. In this video lesson, we are going to continue our discussion on conventions in writing sources. You are expected to identify the different conventions in writing sources using the APA 7th edition format and use this style in citing sources in your academic papers. There are various ways in acknowledging sources. One of these is the APA 7th edition format, introduced by the American Psychological Association or the APA. The APA is considered as one of the largely used referencing styles in terms of research and other academic endeavors. The APA 7th edition format features a number of ways in citing authors and their works. In this lesson, a few will be highlighted to guide you in basic referencing styles for books, periodicals such as journals, magazines, and newspapers, and other printed documents from government and private organizations. In writing bibliography for books with single and multiple authors, or edited books that have either authors or editors, or both, here are the following procedures that you should follow. Invert the names of the authors. Last name comes first, followed by a comma, then the initials. There should be periods after initials. Initials are separated by a space. Follow the order of names as presented in the book. If there are two or more authors, the last author is usually separated by an ampersand or the end symbol. The copyright year should be placed inside the parenthesis. Do not forget the period. The title of the book is written in italics. Capitalize only the first letter of the title. If the title has two parts, capitalize the first letters of the first and second parts. Capitalize proper nouns, and with a period. If the book has a volume or edition number, include it in the parenthesis after the title of the book. Edition is written as ED. Indicate the number of the publisher followed by the period. Do not include the location. Here are sample bibliographical entries for books having a single author. Here are sample bibliographical entries for books having two authors. Here are sample bibliographical entries for books having 3 to 20 authors. You should remember that you should include all the names until the 20th author. Here are sample bibliographical entries for books having more than 20 authors. If there are more than 20 authors, write the names of the first 19 authors followed by an ellipsis or the 3 dots symbol, and then the last author. Here are sample bibliographical entries for edited books having an editor or editors rather than an author or authors. Here are sample bibliographical entries for edited books having both an author and editor. In citing sources for periodicals such as journals, magazines, and newspapers, here are the following reminders. Invert the names of authors. Last name comes first, followed by a comma, then the initials. There should be periods after initials. Initials are separated by a space. Follow the order of names as presented in the book. If there are two or more authors, the last author is usually separated by an ampersand. Next, place the year inside the parenthesis. Do not forget the period. Third, capitalize only the first letter of the title. If the title has two parts, capitalize the first letters of the first and second parts. Capitalize proper nouns. End with a period. Do not italicize. Fourth, capitalize all major words in the periodical's name. Italicize the name of the periodical, and with a comma. Italicize the volume number, there should be no space between the volume number and the issue number. Place the issue number inside the parenthesis. Do not italicize. Follow the parenthesis with a comma. If there are no issue number, the volume should be directly followed by a comma. Include the page range of the article. Use an end dash to separate the first and the last pages of the article. Do not place spaces before and after end dash. If the article has a DOI or URL, write it here. Do not place period at the end of the DOI or URL. Here are sample bibliographical entries for article in journal, paginated by volume. Here are sample bibliographical entries for article in journal, paginated by issue. Here are sample bibliographical entries for article in a magazine. Here are sample bibliographical entries for an article in a newspaper. For other print sources, such as government document and report from a private organization, the name of the department or the organization shall replace the name of the author in the format. See the samples below as your guide. Here are sample bibliographical entries for documents issued by the government and reports from a private organization. I'd like also to remind you some conditions in writing bibliography. Include all names until the 20th author in writing bibliographical entry for books having 3 to 20 authors. If there are more than 20 authors, write the names of the first 19 authors followed by an ellipsis and then the last author. And lastly, take note that in the actual complete list of references, bibliographical entries are arranged alphabetically. Let us have a short recap of our discussion today. We discussed writing bibliography for books having single author, books having 2 authors, books having 3 to 20 authors, books with more than 20 authors, edited books having no authors but have editors, and edited books having both authors and editors. Also, we tackled writing bibliography for an article in a journal paginated by volume, an article in a journal paginated by issue, an article from the magazine, and an article from the newspaper. We also included in the discussion the writing of bibliography for print sources from the government or private organizations. So, let me ask you, why do you think citing or documenting the sources that you used in your research paper or academic paper important? You really have to think of it, but I'll give you 3 points. First, it gives proper credit to the author of the words or ideas that you incorporated in your paper. Second, it allows those who are reading your work to locate your sources in order to learn more about the ideas that you included in your paper. And lastly, and the most important of course, citing your sources consistently and accurately helps you avoid committing plagiarism in your writing. Plagiarism is the act of stealing and passing off someone else's idea and use it without crediting your source. It also involves criminal liability for stealing intellectual property. And the easy way to do away from that is to cite your sources properly. I hope this video helps you to understand better why is it important that you are citing your sources. Thank you for the time that you spent with me. I hope you learned something today. See you in our next episode of English Class with Teacher Noah. Goodbye!